That's an issue. Typically in natatoriums, which is a pool space, you want that to be slightly negative. So negative 0.04, negative 0.05 inches of water column. And if people who turn them positive, what will happen is they drive all that moisture that's in the pool into the envelope assemblies. And if you've ever been in one of those pools where it looks like black mold is just growing over the top of the drywall up top, or you just see that drywall just dripping down off of the walls, that's because their natatorium is too positive. So there's a key difference there, and which is why I wanted to make sure that A, you need to know what your building was designed for, and
Right.
B, most buildings, so 95% of commercial buildings, like a positive 0.05-ish of water column, enough to keep your doors closed, so to speak, and not push out windows, versus a natatorium where you're trying to capture moisture and not push it into your assemblies, but you're actually trying to exhaust it out of the building.
All right, so basically the only time you want negative pressure is when you're in some sort of a moisture environment.
For the most part, that is correct. Or a lab environment. So there's a lot of like labs where they'll use air valves and they'll try to maintain negative pressure within certain areas of the building. And not going into a full lab design here, but that's so that you mitigate contaminants from being pushed into the rest of the hallways or the rest of the adjacent spaces.
And what can negative pressure do to, say, a building if you are not properly in the positive 0.05, but you're negative in the building pressure? What does that do to the building?
Great question. So what happens is a lot of times you have, and we'll talk more about it here in a minute, but you'll have infiltration. So uncontrolled air entering your building that may not be filtered, or in those types of things going on. I also like to talk, my other example with air pressure difference is, like you ever been to the Red Robin down there on Parker and Arapahoe Road, for my folks who live on this side of town, or any restaurant where you go up to that door and you're just trying to pull and pull and pull and you can't open that door. A lot of times that's because the building is super negative, and it's usually because the filters on the makeup air unit are totally loaded and the unit's not bringing in enough makeup air to replace the exhaust air that's being pulled out through the hoods. And so it makes the space go crazy negative. And so then you watch that person sit there and try to pull on that door a whole bunch.